So today I'm going to be showing you guys how I built my top-down set for my YouTube studio. What's up guys, welcome to the video, and if this is our first time meeting, welcome to the channel. My name is Joe Klein and I love to make videos here geared towards content creators. Now right now I'm in the middle of redoing my entire studio for this 2021 year. So far we've already made the sound panels that you've seen behind me, we made this charging station wall over here, and next in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I made my top-down set to get incredible B-roll shots. Now if you're someone who makes YouTube videos or maybe even just makes product videos for your company, then having a top-down set is a really good tool to have because you don't have to spend a lot of time setting up each and every time you want to shoot. Now for me this didn't take up a lot of space at all, and you can really make this as big or as small as you want to. Now as I create more videos this year, one thing that I want to make clear is that it's not about necessarily following these steps exactly the way that I do to create these different things that I create. And the reason why I say that is because the content creator and really the person that I am today is really a byfactor of all the information that I've taken up in my lifetime. And instead of directly copying someone else, I just took that inspiration and made it into my own thing. And so that's just a little life lesson that I wanted to share with you guys for this year in 2022. Become your own content creator who's inspired by all the things that you see and watch. So diving right in, the first thing that I did to create my top-down set is I found an organizer, and for me I already had something in my studio that I was using and I converted that into what you see right now. Now if you're going to be trying to do the same thing, there are a few things that you want to keep in mind whenever you're picking out a desk or some type of organizer for this project. Now the first thing that you want to think about is reflections, because when doing top-down shots you can get a lot of reflections from things around the camera or things that you're holding in front of the camera, and so you want to, as best as possible, make everything black. Now the next thing is something that you don't have to do, but it does make it very, very easy to kind of have an all-in-one solution, and that is to have kind of organizing departments where you can put your different props and even your different background papers that you're going to be using right there beside your set, so you don't have to kind of go all over the place whenever you're ready to film your top-down shots. Now again, for me today, I was lucky enough to already have built my own organizer, and I converted it to be black, and then I also made this little cubby space to hide my different props and also my different pieces of paper that I'm going to be using for the top-down shots. Moving on to the second step, I created my own light source. Now you don't have to do this, and it may be overkill for sure, and if you're not really comfortable with a little bit of soldering, then I would probably just try to find some pre-built solution for this. But for me, I felt comfortable soldering and also felt comfortable configuring this thing together to make this light panel to give me very soft lighting. Now I got this reflection material from an old TV. It's super easy to disassemble a flat screen TV, and you'll find these different pieces of material inside it. Now the reason why I decided to do this is because I already knew the way that TVs produce a light source, and so I figured that if I recreated my own light source and use those same materials, I'll get a very soft and even light like you see on TVs that you have at home. So after gathering this material, I made my frame for the light panel, and then I inserted the LEDs. Now it is important that you leave a little gap in the frame because you want to be able to stick the end of the LEDs out of the frame so that you can wire them so that you can turn the whole device on and off. And speaking of controlling this entire device, I actually followed a tutorial which you can find right above me to make this control box, which allows me to turn off and on the light panel, but also adjust the brightness of it as well. Now I do want to make this very, very simple for you guys, so I am going to walk you through the soldering process as well. So using these connector pieces, you want to find your positive and your negative wires. And one way that you can easily identify the negative from the positive is by looking at the cables, and if you still can't tell, you can plug in the receiver end to a 12-volt power source and then touch the cables together till the light panel comes on, and then if the light panel comes on, then you found the correct way to connect the cables. And after that you want to connect the cables together, and if you're a beginner at soldering, then I'll be leaving a really good solution to help you get these things to stick together easy in the link below in the description. Now if you're going to be using the shrink tubes like I use today, you want to make sure that you put that on before soldering so that you can use the heat gun, heat those up, and then hide all the cables so that you don't have any power or connection issues. And if you don't have these tubes, you can get the same effect by using some electrical tape. So after connecting all the wires to make sure that everything was going to work properly and then turning on the panel, I then was ready to connect the front layers and then put tape around it to make it look really nice. After this, I attached the entire panel to the organizer by screwing some screws in the back, and then I was ready to move on to the next step. Now in this next step, I use wood to create something to hold my camera in a downward position. To do this, I measured out the length of the desk and then I cut the wood accordingly and then I put it all together. In my studio, I really love to use Arca Swiss accessories, so I have this Arca Swiss plate and then I use this screw that perfectly fit a tripod hole, and then I screwed it all together and made sure that everything was good before I painted it. Now if you want to, you're basically done. You can stop here. You don't have to do all the other steps that I'm going to be talking about, but if you do want to make this a little bit nicer and a little bit more of a permanent solution, and I recommend that you stick around and check out these other steps that I did as well. Now because I'm going to be using different pieces of paper for this top down set, I wanted to make sure that it didn't get scratched up with the wood that I use. So using some fabric that I actually had left over from the last video, I laid it out and then I cut it, put some tape around it, and I also made sure to staple it down. So after that, I really only have one more thing that I wanted to do, and again, you don't have to do these steps, but for me, I wanted to install a monitor. So using this very cheap monitor and a few accessories, I installed this monitor so that I can look right at my screen to see what I'm seeing whenever I'm shooting. And luckily, this monitor has a center mark setting, which is very nice because it helps me to make sure that whenever I'm holding products up to the camera, that it's actually in the center of the frame. So overall, this was a lot more than I was expecting, but I'm really happy with the results, and I'm actually super excited to get some more products to make some videos about. And speaking of videos, if you guys are interested in seeing all the videos and all the content I'm going to be creating as I remodel my studio in 2022, then check out this playlist right over here.